there's been a lot of change in the auction software world since this all began. Like online bidding is not new. That's been around for forever, but people weren't using it for their live auction and
Mhm.
for their funding need. It was kind of silent auction only.
Mhm.
And there's been a big change since March to where now a lot of the auction software platforms are offering like an all-in-one, stream your live video on our bidding page and it's sort of all there together. Do
Yep.
you,
Getting better.
I mean,
It's definitely getting better,
getting
and
better,
I
right?
appreciate what
Yeah.
the platforms have done.
Yeah.
Um, I still am kind of approaching it from a TV standpoint. It's
Yeah.
hard to engage the heartstrings of the audience in your fund a need video when the picture is a third of your phone.
Right. Right.
So while I appreciate the effort, I'm excited to see how we continue to progress. I think the thing to really think about is if you're going to go that way, you have
Design
to
for it.
design for it. Right.
Right. Like I still think that it's not a barrier. I mean, almost everyone I know like will watch TV and be on their phone at the same time. So to me, the two screen experience isn't a barrier. And I do like things on a larger screen, but I've had some clients where like that was a deal breaker for
Yep.
them. They wanted it. So it's like, great, cool. Then we will do it in an all-in-one screen platform. But to your point, like
Design for it.
just make that decision early so that you can design. So is it, you mentioned earlier, we were talking about a potential client and saying, well, instead of having auction slideshows that it's like auctioneer and auction slides picture in picture, if you're right there and all the auction items are there, do you need a slideshow for the auction items? Because they're on the bidding platform.
Right, they're
Is
already
it
on the
just
bidding platform.
yeah,
So yeah, I would really work through the process of what do you want to show on screen and really think about what the screen
right,
is. The screen is no longer just the broadcast screen.
right,
It's now a combination of auction platform and broadcast
yeah,
screen. So it's taking that into consideration and saying, okay, well, yeah, maybe I don't need my live auction slideshow any longer because they're already on the
hmm,
auction platform.
right,
So it's a whole lot more just auctioneer on screen or just executive director on screen or just development director on
right,
screen so that you can maximize those personalities in that particular given space.
right. It's interesting too that something I think that it used to be not as much of a decision or sort of a different kind of decision making process is the actual auction software. Because
Mhm.
again, we were using these primarily for silent auctions, not for live auctions, not for fund a need, and use whatever. Like there's lots of good stuff out there, lots of it works. But now we're having to think about, okay, if we're doing a live auction, what is my auctioneer seeing on the back
Mm,
end of the system? So I mean, greater giving for years has been my like number one choice. There are a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is that my auctioneer can look at greater giving and see those bids real time.
right.
He or she is not having to like pull reports
Refresh.
and refresh and filter and all that. Like they just see it as it's happening. And that makes a huge difference when you're doing a live auction this way. There also,
Especially here, I mean,
yeah,
we tend to have the auctioneers here in our studio
hmm,
quite often.
right,
I would imagine it's even more so when they're at their homes. At least here, we have multiple monitors set
right,
up and infrastructure for the auctioneers to come in and use during their events. But they got to be able to access that
right,
quickly. And most of the time, they're controlling it themselves
right,
while they're on camera, while they're mic'd up, while
right,
they're talking.
right. You don't want
And
to have
so
someone
one,
clicking around and filtering and all that, right?
it's
It's
just,
so
you've
bad.
seen so many where it's just like, okay, and the next bid is, I'm gonna get to it right now. And you definitely want to
Yeah,
have it right there for them, both infrastructure-wise, either at home, in a AV company studio,
yeah,
and working with an auction platform that can give you that access.
yeah. Another thing that Greater Giving I think does really well that comes up for me a lot is that when we get to our fund a need or special appeal or paddle raise or whatever, they have a great thermometer,
Yeah.
but a lot of times I'll have donors who have made their gift, they're going to pay by a donor advised fund
Mm,
or a check. And so they're not going to do it via credit card. And I want to be able to still enter in that gift and have it pop up on screen and, the total updates and all that. And again, I don't want to have to refresh anything. I want to be able to just tap it in, and it goes, and it
yeah.
goes on. And Greater Giving is the only one I know of that will do that without like a lot of just back end, like workarounds, not having credit cards and stuff tied to it. And,
And it's hard
you know,
because there's three different perspectives
Yeah.
that we're viewing all of this
Right.
as. We're viewing it as the audience's perspective, what they're seeing and how their user experience is.
Right.
We're doing it from the auction consultant, auctioneer standpoint
Wizard
of really
behind the curtain.
what's behind the curtain. But then and then there's the tech side of things, the
Yeah.
other beside the curtain, where we're taking that data, however they're going to show it, and we're building it into the broadcast.
Mhm.
For that, it's less important to us which platform it is, and yet at the same time, the prettier the fonts are, the colors and things like that, the easier it is for us to
Right.
make it look even that much
Right.
better on screen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's just something that has definitely been a change, and that like now I want to have a conversation with my auctioneer and say, like, this is the platform we're using and this is why, like, are you also comfortable with it?
Sure.
Like, it's just turned into a bigger conversation. It's just one of the new wrinkles.
Just another conversation on top of all the other
Of all the other
conversations.
conversations. Exactly. Exactly.